Okay, so hello everyone, welcome back to another video. And today, let me open up a bit. Okay, this is another rant videos. Uh, one of the thing that I'm most scared of is sitting with myself. And I won't use the word scared because that's just over exaggeration of what I'm feeling. But what I'm truly feeling is uncomfortable. And the reason for this is if I sit down with just my head and maybe a pen and a paper, and I just start talking about what I really feel, I would I would feel good. Take it, I would feel good. But then I also would have to face all the guilt, all the mistakes that I've made, all the opportunities that I have missed, all the potential that I have lost in the past few months. And all of these things are so bizarre to me because there is so much that has been happening. There are so many decisions that I have made with 100% of my consciousness. I know that it's not like they are wrong, but it's more of risky over wrong because, yes, many of them are very risky and I need to act for it. And most of these risky decisions won't be successful unless I get my ass down and start working on something. And yes, I'm working on something. I'm working on so many things, but it's more of a escape rather than productive work. I am doing whatever I'm doing basically is just because I am not comfortable doing this thing. That is why I'm going to the another thing, going to do another thing. And that is such a bad trap to put yourself into. I feel I have been so much obsessed with productivity, okay? And one of the major aspects of productivity is what your goal is at the end of the day. And my goal has always been both long term and short term. Not short term, but yeah, mostly long term goal has been to be free. And you'll be like, what the hell does he mean by that? So by free, I mean I don't want to be bound by some, restrictions or constraints in my life. And one of the major constraint eliminator we can say is money because you can handle both problems and bad consequences with money. Now, the thing is, I always thought depth would be a good short term goal to aim for because depth means more work, and more work means more results later on in the line. And later on, we can also get freedom from, because I am working towards something. But one of the most ignorant part of this entire process, which I was ignoring, is actions. And actions will give you freedom much more quickly with much more strength, and you will overall receive a stronger evidence of freedom than any productivity hack will ever give you. Okay. So that is one thing. Also, recently I got to do something which I don't do on a regular basis. So I used to do that. I take a big gap. I took a big gap and I did it again. One of the most one of the most amusing thing that I noticed was if both lack of action and presence of action contributes a lot in your what I can say in your so-called character, I will say. And it does not it's not actually character, but for the sake of understanding what I want to say, let's call it character. I think I think what I felt that day was acting upon things will give you a lot more to look at afterwards as a so-called proof of you being what you said you are. Okay. You can do so much of productivity research. You can do so much of, so-called systematic work or strategic work. But unless your actions are justifying and unless your actions are heavy, I will say heavy, you won't feel that kind of thing. Even if you, let's say, let me tell you straight, okay? If you work for an hour with all your fucking systems and with all of your strategic way of working versus just pure action with no second thoughts, that and obviously towards something which actually matters, that will be a lot more effective and a lot more contributing towards your character development, because that is something you can look behind that after you have done with your things. And one of the most important factors, and I can make another video on this. I think what happens is, if you are someone like me who is who is on a lot of places, like I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube, I'm playing games, I like to record videos, I like to make things. If you are all over the place, one of the biggest things you will face, one of the biggest challenges that you will face is when you are faced with a problem or a bad circumstance, you face a big where do I belong question. Okay? And if you take these actions in bulk and you have these so-called proofs, you have a lot more to look at when you have this kind of question. Where do I belong? And if you pile up enough of these actions, this will make up an entire new personality for you. And that is such a big thing for me, at least. And I think that is how we are supposed to, work on ourselves instead of believing in systems. These systems are important, but unless those systems are directed towards a meaningful goal, they are just useless. So what do we have to understand from this video? First, actions are important, systems are important, but both of these without a defined goal or intention is useless. Another thing is, um, 2 or 3 hours of systematic productive work is not as much as important as bulk, no second thoughts wala intentional pure work. Okay. In your productive work, can now one of the most important, like one of the most vague comparison is, can your productive work, your productive and systematic work, why can't this be equal to intentional work? Because I think productivity has so many, you know, nowadays it has been so much, it's been so much romanticized that if you're doing productive tasks, it has to come with so much of barriers. Like, you cannot just sit down and start working. You should, write down your tasks. You should write down your distractions, and yes, that can help. But but prioritizing that over your actual work is pure stupidity. So one of the biggest things that I am focusing on right now is, one, acting more than, like taking actions more than trying to figure out what is wrong with me, because I think actions can give me a lot more proofs which can later on solve this issue of mine, ki what is wrong with. So that was the entire thing that I wanted to talk about today. Hopefully this is recording because I don't know what kind of setup this is, and hopefully this gets recorded. Like my voice is clear. So that was it for the video. I will end this here. It's been a while since I have uploaded on my YouTube, so this will be out of nowhere videos for the people who actually watch this. So yeah, that was it. Thank you for listening to me. Bye bye.